Yo, long time no see. I think it's time I come back and tell you about something that's been sitting on my mind for a while now. And that, my friends, is Weird Mario. Now you're probably asking yourself, Cole, what is a Weird Mario? And that's a fine question. Let me break it down for you. Weird Mario is a subgenre of Mario games that seemingly started in the early 2000s when Mario was trying to reinvent itself beyond the 2D platformer. These games include, but are not limited to, Luigi's Mansion, Mario Sunshine, Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door, Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga, Mario & Luigi Partners in Time, Mario Strikers Charged, and, well, so much more. But what makes a Weird Mario? Well, that's a good question. Because what's better than people arguing online about things that are inherently wrong? Evidence. So I'm going to set some criteria for Weird Mario. For a Weird Mario game to be a Weird Mario game, it's got to do a couple of things. A Weird Mario game has to have a massive gameplay overhaul. Take what's good and expand on it, or change it up entirely while still keeping things fun and intuitive. A Weird Mario game also has to have stories and stakes, usually taking Mario away from the tried and true tale of saving Princess Peach and putting him in a story where more is on the line. A Weird Mario game also has to have interesting characters and locales, usually putting new characters front and center or fleshing out the Mushroom Kingdom and making it feel more vibrant. And the last thing a Weird Mario game usually has is soul, something that's an X factor. It's hard to describe what soul is, but you know it when you see it. And the only word to describe that is, well, soul. So with that out of the way, I think it's time that we go through all of the Weird Mario games I mentioned and talk about each of these criteria to see how well they fit. Mario Sunshine changed what made Mario, Mario. And I think FLUDD is one of the most entertaining and intuitive movement systems in the entire series. I know Cappy is another movement system that people talk about, but I'll touch on that in a second. FLUDD made the whole game different, with Mario being able to change his moves based on what FLUDD did beforehand, considering wall jumps into hovers, sliding by spraying water on the ground first, and including the rocket nozzle and the turbo nozzle, just to name a few. FLUDD's mechanics were integrated directly into the core gameplay loop and Mario's movement system. And that kind of gameplay hasn't really been done again. Cappy has some of those mechanics, allowing Mario to hop, skip, and wahoo his way just about anywhere. But the thing about Cappy is that it doesn't feel new. It feels like a refinement of Mario 64. The same moveset, but easier to do. Mario can still jump, side flip, long jump, and triple jump, just like in all the other games, and Mario has Cappy. But the thing about Cappy is, he's an option, not a requirement. Consider something like Potable Mario, where Mario can become a fireball. Aside from that, it's not used anywhere else outside of the Luncheon Kingdom except for that one small section in the darker side of the moon. It's not ingrained into gameplay. And I know some people would say that Mario Odyssey has a massive gameplay overhaul because Mario's not kicked out of levels when he collects moons. But that is what people call quality of life improvements. And I just don't think that those fit the criteria. Alright, well, let's talk about Luigi's Mansion. For starters, you play as Luigi, in a game where you don't jump even once. It's literally just Luigi vacuuming up ghosts. I think that is the absolute staple of a massive gameplay overhaul. It's a Luigi-centric game where you suck up ghosts, fight bosses, and solve puzzles in one centralized location. Anybody who saw this for the first time would go, a Luigi game where you hunt ghosts? That sounds strange. The first three Paper Mario games took the RPG mechanics and basically turned them on their heads. Especially Super Paper Mario, but I'm going to touch on that in a little bit. Paper Mario and Thousand Year Door had RPG mechanics where characters would choose their attacks and then perform them. It still had some of the staple RPG mechanics like health and mana and, you know, getting low health and dying and all that RPG stuff. But the thing about it is that each attack that Mario and friends did had a little minigame attached to it. Whether it was holding the right button down to use the water jet on Sushi, or Mario holding the left stick back at just the right moment to do more damage with his hammer. Or Mario getting a second or even third jump on enemies when he's using his jump attack if you time it right. Thousand Year Door and the original Paper Mario made turn-based RPG games feel fun and entertaining. Contrast that with something like Pokemon, where you press an attack and then you just wait for the enemy to do their turn. You take your damage, but you can't really fight back during that phase. Contrast that with something like Paper Mario or Thousand Year Door, where a well-timed press of the A button will cause Mario to duck under his hat, and while he still might get hurt, he's getting less damage done to him. You're effectively fighting back against the enemy while it is their turn. Every turn of the battle, you're still doing something that keeps you engaged with the game itself. And then Super Paper Mario showed up and just said, fuck that, let's turn Paper Mario into a 2D, 3D platformer with a space shooter and a dating sim integrated in it, and give Mario the ability to switch between 4 characters, including Bowser. While that is the definition of a massive gameplay overhaul, Super Paper Mario will get its time to shine in the next section. Mario and Luigi took Paper Mario's idea and basically said, that's good, let's make it better. And had Mario and Luigi be able to deal damage during any phase of the fight. With the attack phase having Mario and Luigi be able to not only attack on their own with well-timed button presses, but also combine their attacks together into bros moves, which was the thing that kind of took the place of the partners in Paper Mario and Thousand Year Door. Because when you're playing as Mario and Luigi, you get a special button combination and they jump on each other and they pile drive into people, and it's actually really cool. And then we get to dodging and counterattacking, because when the enemy goes to attack Mario and Luigi, they can literally just jump out of the way, meaning that you can not only not take damage during the boss fight, but not taking damage is actually based on your skill. And if Mario and Luigi happen to jump on an enemy while they're running under them, they get hurt. That's freaking cool. And even on top of that, when one of the bros gets downed, he's laying on the floor, and then the attack phase comes for the enemy, that dodge mechanic is now more difficult because one of the brothers is holding the other guy on their shoulder, meaning that it's going to take him a little bit longer to jump because they have more weight on him. So your entire timing for that attack that you've been doing oh so well until Luigi died now has to be done with a completely different timing just so that Mario can survive to revive him in the next attack phase. Oh yeah, and then Strikers was just straight up extreme soccer. I mean, there's really nothing more to say about that. That's just freaking weird. Every weird Mario game I've mentioned so far has had some kind of insane story that makes you go, damn, that's fucking wild. But true weird Mario games stick to their guns. They run that weird train all the way to the credits. No copping out, no chickening out. Everything that you see in this story is real, and they're not fucking around. Mario Sunshine sees Mario incarcerated for somebody pretending to be him, and then Mario has to do community service to get out of it. And it isn't even until the 4th level of the game, Pinna Park, where you find a little rascal who's pulling all this shit off. And it's none other than the son of Bowser, who, mind you, hasn't shown up in a game before this. So seeing Bowser Jr. for the first time holds a massive amount of weight, because not only is Bowser Jr. the canonical direct son of Bowser and not one of the 7 adopted children that Bowser had, but Bowser Jr. is a constant threat in every single level of the game. From stealing FLUDD during the secret levels to actively having to chase him down in every single location. And then on top of all of this, after you catch Bowser Jr. for the last time in all locations, he decides to go whole hog and flood Delfino Plaza. You spawn into the level, and there's water everywhere, there's people standing on the rooftops, and the only place that you can go is Corona Mountain. And then when you enter, it's this gauntlet of just difficult platforming challenges, and then you finally make it to the final boss, at the top of the volcano. That shit is entirely fucking bonkers. And I know what you're about to say. But the storybook in Galaxy, there's story in Galaxy. You can see it, and you can read it, and you can look at it. And it's integral to understanding the characters of the game. And Bowser Jr., he's in Galaxy too. The thing about the storybook in Galaxy is that it's entirely optional. You could beat the whole game without reading it. It's not as important as you think it is. Also, the stakes aren't as high in Galaxy, because we're going back to the tried and true Mario saves Peach from Bowser. Bowser's the main antagonist. Bowser Jr., he's just a mini-boss. And the thing that separates Galaxy from Sunshine is that not only is it Bowser Jr.'s first appearance in the entire Mario canon, but Bowser Jr. didn't use an army of Mario enemies or airships to take him down. Bowser Jr. had a magical paintbrush that we never saw again until Bowser's Fury. Mario Galaxy, however, did have a sense of epicness to it. But the thing that holds Mario Galaxy back is that it was played too safe. Why was it played too safe? Well, I'll touch on that later, because I have a whole section dedicated to your ifs, ands, and buts. Luigi's Mansion. This is the gold standard for weird Mario games, so it's not hard to understand why this game has stakes in it. You're Luigi. You won a mansion in a contest that you never entered. Mario showed up first, and now he's missing. You go into the mansion and you start finding his clothes everywhere, and you accidentally just let out the biggest, baddest ghost of all time into the mansion, on top of all the other ghosts that are haunting the house. Luigi constantly expects the worst when going through the mansion and fighting the ghosts, with the only thing protecting him is a vacuum cleaner that some random scientist gave him. And then when you finally find Mario, the game just teases you a little bit by having Luigi just reach out for Mario, and he can't get him because he's trapped. He's at the bottom of the well, and Mario's in a painting, and King Boo is there, and he's like, you'll be great for my artistic vision, or whatever his laugh is. And then the final boss. While it is Bowser, the fact that his head fucking detaches, they wouldn't do that shit in a game made now. You play Luigi's Mansion 3, and King Boo is the final boss, and there's a big old painting in the sky, and yeah, that's cool, but it's not a decapitated Bowser. So let's talk about Paper Mario. While relatively simple for a Mario story, Paper Mario shines the most because of its world building and its characters. But the stakes of the story are set up right at the beginning, because Mario loses to Bowser. And we're not talking like Mario is like, oh, he's too strong, I'm gonna run away and come back later. We're talking Mario definitively loses. He falls down to the ground, he's knocked out. Bowser won. That's pretty weird. We haven't really seen a game do that before. And then you talk about Thousand Year Door, right? Mario goes somewhere that's not the Mushroom Kingdom, a sleazy pirate town where he uncovers a treasure map. And then he's got to go and find all the crystal stars to open the Thousand-Year Door. And then the final boss of that game is a evil, possessed version of Peach where you have to fight her. And then at the end, all of your friends pray to Mario and he fucking spirit bombs them and wins. And Bowser isn't even in that. He's like 2 boss fights in the game. And then on top of that, there's a whole chapter dedicated to Mario completely losing his identity, and you have to fight the evil version of yourself, and it's just this big, cocky guy who's like, oh, it's me, Super Mario, I'm the best of the best, fuck you, Mario, who's not actually Mario. You know that, like, Dupless and all of the Dupla ghosts that you see in Paper Mario and you see in Thousand Year Door, they haven't been in a Mario game since Thousand Year Door. And I find that upsetting because Dupless was like one of the most entertaining antagonists out of the entire like Thousand Year Door experience. On top of Thousand Year Door being chock full of just weird and crazy stuff, Super Paper Mario has Mario straight up like dimension hopping, and he's got to fight all sorts of bad guys, from a otaku chameleon to a disgusting, horrifying spider lady. And then on top of all that, he's got to defeat an evil version of his brother who's been hypnotized to think that he's somebody else. And then at the end of the game, Mario's got to stop the collapse of all universes. He eventually teams up with Bowser, adds Luigi to his party, and you get to play as Princess Peach too. And the whole game starts with Bowser marrying Peach. You know, speaking of Peach, all of the Paper Mario games had you playing as her in some capacity. Sure, in the first game, she was the damsel in distress, but in Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door, those were like active stealth sections, and she went out and was even trying to help Mario during his adventure. And on top of all of that, it fleshed out Peach as a character. That's not something that you really see very much. I mean, let's talk about Mario and Luigi. In Superstar Saga, Mario and Luigi travel to a whole new kingdom, with its own inhabitants, cultures, stuff like that. They fight an evil soda, and a Christmas tree crab, and a giant piranha plant, but that last one's kind of par for the course. But the thing about Superstar Saga is the world, and the antagonist. Cackleta's plan is pretty, it's pretty evil villainy, but Cackleta actively killed people, nearly killed the Mario brothers, and possessed Bowser at the end of the game. That's freaking weird. Oh yeah, and Mario and Luigi got superpowers? Like, Luigi shoots lightning out of his hands? I want that. I want to see that again. Mario and Luigi Partners in Time is a time-traveling adventure where Mario and Luigi, plus their baby selves, fight aliens. And then, on top of that, Professor Egad's there. The last time he was a main character in anything was Luigi's Mansion. He also got a passing mention in Sunshine, but we didn't actually see him. I mean, the final battle of Partners in Time is Mario, Luigi, and the two babies fight an alien princess. Then they fight a buff alien princess. And then that buff alien princess possesses Bowser, which, yeah, I get it, taking a page out of the previous game's book, but I can overlook it for the sake that everything that came before it was freaking banger. Strikers really didn't have much of a story, but the final battle, Mario fought robots that were made by Bowser, and they look nothing like robots from the Mario universe. They look like a weird mix between like the Xenomorph and Terminator. That doesn't belong in a Mario game. So we've got our gameplay overhaul, we've got our stories and stakes. What's next? Something that makes the weird Mario games weird is their characters and locales. Take Sunshine, for example. The whole game takes place on Isle Delfino, a place that is not in the Mushroom Kingdom. In fact, no regular Mario enemies show up during that entire outing where Mario does his community service. Except for the two Monty Moles that show up in the cannons in Noki Bay and Pinna Park, but I think that's about it. Everything on Delfino Island is completely new to the Mario series. The Piantas have a court system. This means that there's Pianta crime. On top of that, Delfino Plaza itself is full of hustle and bustle. You've got the fruit stands, you've got the basketball and the soccer thing for the fruits, for money. You've got the boats doing tours to help you get to the little island to spray Yoshi's stuff on the pipe and do the river level. And even on top of all of this, there's little side stories to go along with all of this. You got the guy that's on fire on the beach. You got the two guys arguing with each other on the side of the street. And then you've got the castaway on the island. And I know everybody talks about him, but it's important. Because you talk to him and he says, oh, I can't swim, I'm too scared, I can't make it to Delfino Plaza. But then I think it's when you beat the game, or if you 100% it, I don't remember. But eventually he does make it back. And then he just sits there on the beach, staring at the island. All of that stuff put together adds this sense of immersion into the game. When I'm running around Delfino Plaza, I feel like I'm Super Mario Sunshine. I feel like I'm there. Also, every level has a little story attached to it. Consider Noki Bay, right? You go in for the first level, and it's poison. The whole water's poison. And they say, oh, we think it's the waterfall. Go up there and unplug the waterfall. So Mario goes up there and unplugs the waterfall, but that's not it. Then you try a couple more things, and that stuff isn't it. Then you find out, oh wait, there's an eel with messed up teeth living at the bottom of the waterfall. You need to go and clean his teeth. So Mario does a little training montage thing inside the bottle with the 8 red coins, And then Mario jumps down the waterfall that he himself unplugged in the first level and cleans the eel's teeth. Now that the water's not poison anymore, everyone can swim and they have a celebration for Mario. Same goes for Serena Beach. Mario goes to Serena Beach and he stops the Manta. Then after he stops the Manta, the hotel manager's like, well, Mario, I appreciate what you've done. You seem like a real stand-up guy. We have a ghost problem. Can you help us? And then Mario goes, all right, yeah, I guess I'll help you guys. And then he helps him, and then he stops King Boo. There's a sense of community, and everything that Mario does on Delfino Island feels like it's part of a larger story, with every level that you complete connecting to each other like episodes of a show. Oh wait, they are called episodes! You are supposed to play them from 1 through 7 in each level. What? Oh my gosh, it's almost like they intended for us to do that. Sure, the levels are linear. You do have to complete Shines 1 through 7 to beat the game. However, that's part of the game, because by doing all of 1 through 6, you're helping the Piantas to lure out Shadow Mario to take him down. It's intrinsically part of the game's story. Luigi's Mansion's story is consistent right from the time that Luigi walks through the door, because we get one thing that not a lot of Mario games give you, and that, my friends, is characterization. By the time Luigi opens the door, meets EGOT, and gets the Poltergust 3000, Luigi now has more character than his brother ever has. The mansion itself is just brimming with characterization as well, and while it may not be the ghost that you fight in the hallway, it is the portrait ghosts, EGAD, and Luigi himself, because with the Game Boy Horror, Luigi can click on certain items that interest him, and Luigi will leave a little comment. And with the portrait ghosts, each one has their own personality and their own way to be defeated. And every area has a massive boss ghost at the end that Luigi sucks up with the vacuum and turns into a portrait as well. Consider the boss for Area 1. The Ghost Baby. That's it. It's just a ghost baby. That's more weird than anything else Mario's put out recently. But there's also other ghosts that are, strange as well. You do a Mario music test with the piano ghost and the fortune teller who helps you figure out what happened to Mario before you find him in the well. And she's like, that was fun. Suck me back up and put me in the painting, please. Like a ghost that wants to be put in the painting already? Wow, that's even crazier in and of itself for Luigi's Mansion. Because there's a gray area to how Luigi's Mansion works. It's not all ghosts are bad and whatever. It's, all ghosts are sometimes bad. Some ghosts are fine on their own, and some genuinely want to help Luigi. And we're back with Paper Mario. Seriously, where to even begin with this? The entire characterization and world of Paper Mario is fleshed out. Sure, it's the Mushroom Kingdom, but there's villages. There's locales to go to. Everything's got life in it. Every character you can talk to, every place you can interact with, and there's always something interesting to see. There's an entire chapter dedicated to a murder mystery in a penguin village. If that doesn't scream character and fleshed out, I don't know what does. And then every partner in both Thousand Year Door and Paper Mario both have a distinct personality, with characters like Goombario, Cooper, Parakarry, Lackluster, Sushi, Lady Bo, and the other one that I forgot. I think his name is like Zap or something. Regardless, Goombario isn't allied with Bowser. Goombario lives his own life, and he looks up to Mario. He wants to be like Mario. He wants to be an adventurer. For some reason, both of the Koopa Troopa partners from Paper Mario and Thousand Year Door look like some kind of OC someone would put on a Twitter profile to talk smack on others. But the thing that these two partners have that separates them from the hot takers online is that they both have two distinct personalities. So Cooper wants to be an archaeologist, and he eventually meets his inspiration, Colorado, later in the game. And Coops, he wants to become courageous so he can impress a lady. And he eventually gets it in the game. So good on you, Coops. You did good. So going back to the original Paper Mario, there's villages filled with Mario characters. I think I mentioned it before. But whether it's the Koopas, the Troopas, the Princess, and the others, they feel real. They feel like they're lived in, and that kind of is what makes the environments in Paper Mario so stand out. And then Thousand Year Door takes that and just cranks that shit up to 11. Because in Thousand Year Door, we're talking mobster piantas. hidden ruins, giant wrestling arenas, and a nameable Yoshi whose hair and body color change based on how long you wait before you hatch him. That is really awesome. And on top of that, with the Yoshi kid, the fact that he was born in the Glitz Pit, he doesn't really care that you're Mario. To him, he sees you fight. To him, you're the Great Gonzalez. And he wants to be just like you. And he becomes just like you at the end of the game when he becomes the Great Gonzalez Jr. and continues to fight in the Glitz Pit after the events of the game. There's a character arc, and it ties into not only his personality, but the world that Mario travels through during his adventure. And even on top of all of this, consider the first partner that you ever get in the game, Goombella. Now, she works pretty much exactly like Goombario, but she has one thing that Goombario doesn't have. A college degree. From Goom University. They had no reason to put that in the game, yet every time I think about it and I read it, it makes me chuckle. Because it's just that little bit of extra flavor text that not only fleshes out Goombella's character, but it's just like, okay, sure. It's funny, and it makes the game a lot more richer with personality. Hell, all of Thousand Year Door's locations are just filled to the brim with life. Like Rogueport, for instance. It is this slimy town where our mustached hero just doesn't belong. I mean, there's a noose in it. And it's full of characters, too. You interact with one of the shopkeepers right at the beginning of the game when you step on her contact lens. And then she won't let you progress the game until you buy her a new one. That's silly, but it's great. And then there's the Glitz Pit, and then there's the underground ruins and the whole extra town that's underground. And then there's the ghost that turns Mario into a paper plane and turns him into a roll-up and stuff like that. It's just filled to the brim with this wacky and wild characters that don't really belong in the Mario series, yet belong exactly in Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door. And who could forget when Luigi shows up in Rogueport, right? You're running into him, you're talking to him, and he's going on his own adventure with his own partners, and even though he's messing everything up, this gives the player a reason to go back to Rogueport and see Luigi. Even though they didn't have to do it, it still adds life to the world, because now not only is there Rogueport and all of its other surrounding areas, and the Mushroom Kingdom and all of that surrounding areas, but Luigi has a new location and a new area for Mario to hear about. Not explore, but it makes the world feel all the more bigger. Mario and Luigi just straight up has a whole new kingdom. I mean, do I really need to say anything more? You got the Chocola Cola, you got Prince Peasley, Cacletta, Fawful, the two hammer guys who make your hammers. The whole world is filled to the brim with good writing and character design and everything that makes it feel like a real place next door to the Mushroom Kingdom. Something that all these Mario games have is soul, and while soul is hard to discern, every single game I've mentioned in this video has some form of soul in it. And while it may not be exactly this, these games feel like they're not being made for a quick buck. They feel like they're genuinely made with the passion of the people who are working on the game. They're putting their soul into it. Consider this. The voice acting in Flood from Sunshine. The grim nature of Luigi's Mansion. The world building and characters and a story to be emotionally invested in Paper Mario, Thousand Year Door, and Super Paper Mario. The gameplay mechanics and just the overall character design of Superstar Saga and Partners in Time. And then just the entire concept of strikers. All of these games unabashedly move away from the norm, and they're not afraid of alienating anyone because they're experimenting. The truth of the matter is that all of these games, well, they work, and they haven't been done again. But I know what you're gonna say. Oh, Sunshine's hard. The Pachinko level and the River level, those are hard. The blue coins are terrible, and the voice acting's bad, blah, 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 blah. And to that I say, get good at the game. It was a game made in 2002, you have to expect some jank. And if you're going to just beat the game, you don't even have to do the blue coins. Hell, you don't even have to do the pachinko and river levels. They're secret levels for a reason. But if you're going to 100% the game, well, then tough shit. The game expects something of you. And the voice acting, yeah, it's a little weird, but this is the first time they did voice acting. It may be weird, but it certainly has a lot of charm to it. You can't deny that. And I know you're going to say something along the lines of, oh, but the storybook in Galaxy. And Galaxy wasn't in the Mushroom Kingdom. There's all new characters in Galaxy with Rosalina and the Lumas. And even with Odyssey, and the locations, and the characters, and Cappy. All of these games fit the criteria. First off, with Galaxy, while it is good gameplay-wise, it's still the same moveset as Mario 64, just with an added spin. Something that Mario has now gotten in New Super Mario Bros. Wii and every other Mario 2D platform. And Galaxy was created solely on the idea that Miyamoto wanted spherical worlds as the next Mario game. Also, like I said before, the storybook is optional. It's not intrinsically tied to the story. It's something that Mario can miss that fleshes out Rosalina's backstory. A character that hasn't been in a Mario game as a mainstay character, except for that one time in 3D World, where she was a post-game unlockable that had nothing to do with the main story. The story for Galaxy also has no stakes. As big and bombastic as the opening is, the ending, as fucking insane as it is, literally has Rosalina resetting the whole universe. So technically, Galaxy 1 didn't even happen. And then on top of that, they shit on what Galaxy came up with by having Galaxy 2 be a retelling of Galaxy 1 without Rosalina in it. Rosalina is to Nintendo what Disney is to Elsa, a character to be sold and put in spin-offs. It doesn't matter if they retcon her in the second game. And yeah, I know that Rosalina appears in a cutscene if you 100% Galaxy 2, but like I said before, Galaxy 2 is a retelling of Galaxy 1. Uncool and totally cringe. Galaxy is also an extremely linear game. It's more 2.5D than 3D. Sure, Mario can run around in 360 degrees, but the game is inherently linear, and that sucks. Galaxy also doesn't have interesting characters, aside from whatever Rosalina and the Lumas add to the story. It's got the Toad Brigade and Luigi, but every single enemy Mario encounters is an altered version or the exact character from Mario's Rogues Gallery. Consider the Dino Piranha, which is literally a piranha plant with a dinosaur body. The only original-ish enemy that I remember seeing is the Octorok clone in the first level, and those are called Octoombas. So they're still Goombas. Contrast that with Sunshine, and every enemy that Mario encounters in Sunshine felt entirely new. The only characters from the Mushroom Kingdom that really made the jump to Sunshine were the few Toads, Princess Peach, Bowser, and Toadsworth. The only Galaxy in Galaxy that has some semblance of a weird Mario is the Honey Hive Galaxy, which has a small semblance of a story. But aside from that, everything else is a linear sandbox, and even more linear than Sunshine, because you have to follow specific launch stars in Galaxy to get to the goal. In Sunshine, Mario can pretty much run around everywhere. On top of all of this, Galaxy assets are being used everywhere now. But Galaxy is just a regular 2D Mario game, but in 3D. If we take Galaxy, we remove the spherical worlds, put it back in the Mushroom Kingdom, replace the stars with flagpoles, we'd have Super Mario 3D World. And Rosalina's in that too. It's too safe of a game. Sure, they put Mario in space, but the story's the same. The stakes are ultimately for nothing. They copped out. They refused to go any crazier than what Galaxy could have been. And I know what you're going to say next. But the locales and the characters from Odyssey, that's insane. And the story, Mario's got to stop a wedding. And even you get to go back to the Mushroom Kingdom and all the moons become stars. We've never done any of that shit before. Let me stop you right there. Story-wise, there's no payoff. Sure, it's got a sense of epicness, with Mario having to go to the moon and stop a wedding. By the way, they did that in Super Paper Mario. But after this epic final battle, you get to possess Bowser, run through the caves of the fucking moon to this banger song with Peach on your back, things are crumbling, everything's falling apart, Bowser finally escapes with Mario inside him and Peach on his back, and Nothing. We're back at square one. Peach doesn't marry Mario. She just leaves Mario and Bowser stranded on the moon and takes off. Everything in Odyssey is a set piece. It's all for show. There's no real sense of finality in the game. And to give some credit to Mario 64, when you beat Bowser for the final time, you grab the star, you got the wing cap, Mario triple jumps off of the boss stage, flies around, and takes off. There's a sense of a triumphant win. In that single moment, all wrongs have been right, and Mario definitively won. But the constant dick sucking you guys give 64 is the reason that this is the only thing we ever get anymore. Hence why they remastered all of the 3D games. And you idiots bought it. Myself included. So Weird Mario has made a semblance of a comeback, but not in the way you think. Hey, this is Editing Cole. I'm extremely tired right now, but I do know that Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope got announced, and technically, yes, that would fit the qualifications of a quote-unquote Weird Mario game. However, it's not made by Nintendo. It's not a first-party game, so in that sense, it's not a Weird Mario game, if you catch my drift. I feel the closest we've ever gotten to capturing Weird Mario again is Luigi's Mansion 3, but the game plays it too safe. There's no mystery. It's too simple and all too linear. But the character interactions and the cinematics give me the same feeling that I had when I booted up Luigi's Mansion for the first time and watched him cowardly enter the front doors. You could say Odyssey fits the bill, but I've already talked about that, so let's talk about Bowser's Fury. Because I know somebody will say, well, Bowser's Fury has an interesting setup. That's definitely weird. While the setup itself does have little remnants of Weird Mario, the thing about it is it falls for the same fate as Odyssey. It's got a good setup, but there's no payoff. You defeat Bowser and he's normal again. That's it. Plus, I just want to mention that, yeah, Bowser Jr. does get his paintbrush back. However, they don't go full out with the paintbrush. Because it's not, oh, this is the paintbrush from Sunshine. This is a paintbrush that Bowser Jr. has. And you can tell because EGAD's logo isn't on it anymore. And I know that's a little nitpicky, but Nintendo, every detail matters. And I know I haven't talked about Bowser's Inside Story when I mentioned the Mario and Luigi games, and there's a reason for that. I don't see Bowser's Inside Story as a true Weird Mario game. I actually see it as the start of the decline for the Mario and Luigi series, and I've got two main reasons why. My first reason is Starlo. Sure, Starlo's a fine addition to the cast for Bowser's Inside Story, but she does the one thing that this kind of character shouldn't have done. She overstays her welcome. And I understand you need a character to take the role of talking for Mario and Luigi, but the thing is somebody else should have taken the reins for the next title. And if I ever see Starlo in person, I will crush her like the living stress ball that she is. The second thing that I find wrong with Bowser's Inside Story is the flip screen battles. While they do look cool, they're just spectacle. It's a minigame compilation that you can't really lose unless you try really, really, really hard to. And after Bowser's Inside Story, they started using them in everything. The Papercraft battles in Paper Jam, the giant Luigi fights in Dream Team. It halts the game's pace, and it just makes it unfun. The core of Weird Mario is that all of the Weird Mario games break up the formula. It's Mario, but with a twist. And I know you're going to say, well, Cole, Star Fox Zero was Star Fox with a twist, and that game did awful. It's not that Star Fox Zero did awful. Star Fox Zero could have been fine had it have not been a retelling of the original Star Fox game and made entirely, specifically for the Wii U. Nintendo still made that console, but they sure as hell don't act like they made it since the Switch came out. Nintendo isn't always perfect, but Nintendo's over-reliance on either not putting a spin on their games at all or spinning their games so fast that they're near unrecognizable is the biggest issue in their company right now, in my opinion at least, but I'm no Nintendo YouTuber. Unfortunately for the Mario series, their complete unwillingness to just twist Mario enough to make it interesting is the reason why all of these new games feel so incredibly stale. Consider something like Sega. Sega made Sonic and the Black Knight, a King Arthur game where you play as Sonic. And I know a lot of people don't like the storybook Sonic games, but you gotta give Sega credit for actually changing it up. That's the whole source of this issue. They need to change it up. Not a lot, but just a little bit to make things interesting. Put some stuff on the line, flesh out some of the characters a bit. Here, consider this. Remove Peach as a goal for Mario, make her a main character. Or take the characters to Sarasaland and flesh out Daisy as a character. Or how about this? A 3D Mario game where there is 2 players. But one player isn't Cappy or some little Wii pointer thing. One player is actually Luigi. Because for the name Mario Brothers, Mario and Luigi sure don't act like them when they're in their main titles. All of these bare-bones ideas have fundamentally changed what makes Mario, Mario, without making up some bullshit. We've seen Mario travel through time. We've seen Mario get arrested. We've seen Mario go to space and go to the moon. And we've seen Mario fight a giant evil Bowser. But the truth of the matter is that out of the 5 things that I've talked about, the weirdest ones of the group are the first 2. So here's what I say. Don't give me another fucking remake. Don't give me another goddamn sequel. Give me something fresh. Give me something strange. But also give me something actually difficult. We should bring back Weird Mario. And I want to hear this from you. I'm serious. I'm going to put a hashtag in this video. It's hashtag BringBackWeirdMario. And I know it's a little bit cheesy, but hear me out. I want to know your ideas. I want to know what your ideal Mario game would look like. And I want you to tell me about it. So send me a tweet with your ideal Mario game. And then maybe, just for 2 seconds, we could either piss Nintendo off, or we could show Nintendo that the early 2000s for Mario is probably the best that the series is ever going to be. Anyways, thank you for watching the video. You're a very cool guy. Thank you to my members. Thank you to you, again, for watching the video, because you're cool. And I will see you guys in whenever I decide to make another video. Bye-bye.